Except my STEEZ going on. Yes, Lord, bringing you round 9 tips. Last week, man, I didn't do so hot in the tips at all, man. I got a handful wrong. Teams who I thought I got the identity of the teams just haven't quite lived up to the expectations that I had for them. So I don't know where I stand, man. In our tipping competition, I'm pretty average, man, middle of the pack. So obviously, I'm not getting as much right as I would like. I don't quite have a grip on what I think the identity of these teams are, and so I'm losing confidence in these tips, man. Yeah, it's just tough, man. So really get into the games this week, man. We got Freo versus Collingwood at the Optus Stadium. This will be interesting. Well, Freo got smacked last week, man. They did not look convincing at all against the Saints. Looked quite terrible, looked quite one-dimensional. So I'm not sure if that was just a one-off. I don't think they've been playing great, particularly this season, but yeah, they're down on form right now. Collingwood, on the other hand, is really the opposite. They were due for a loss, and they did lose last week. But it'll be interesting because Collingwood actually is without a handful of players, too. They're managing Brady Maynard, managing Jordan DeGoey, and Scott Pendlebury, which I think are 3 important pieces to the structure of their team, both on the defense and the offensive end. That being said, I still think Collingwood still has what it takes to beat Freo, especially after last week's performance, man. Freo needs to bounce back. And I think Freo can potentially win this game if they revert back to how they were played earlier in the season, if they can get to find the best, if they can play their best footy behind the midfield that they have. But Freo is without Hayden Young, a big body midfielder that I think is pretty pivotal for their team. So replacing him won't be easy. They're already short a couple midfielders as well. So that does even the playing field a little bit as far as the losses that Collingwood has. But I still think at the end of the day, bro, they still have enough to really handle Freo, bro. Just off the back of the day cosses themselves. They both been playing great footy, and I don't think Freo really. I don't think they can slow possession enough to really stop Collingwood. Collingwood doesn't play a slow game, and yeah, Collingwood can beat them out the center. I think it should be a pretty easy game, man. But you never know, bro. I've been wrong. Quite a long time, quite a few games to say the least this season. So for that reason, I'm going to tip Collingwood on the road. Next game, we have the Saints versus Carlton, and 2 completely opposite ends of the form ladder, man. Like I just said, Saints had a great win against Freo, strangled them, played great team defense to shut shit down. Carlton, on the other end, had a terrible game against Adelaide, and yeah, I don't think Carlton can beat the Saints if they continue to play that way that they did. They looked like the old classic Carlton, the classic bad Carlton. It's been looking terrible, man. Last game, they really had no direction. Adelaide really just waltzed through the defense and really got what they wanted, man. I don't think Saints are as quite of a dangerous side as far as attacking goes as Adelaide, but nonetheless, they still have had promising moments, especially with Cooper Sharman there up forward. And Jack Higgins may give Carlton some problems as well. And just the pressure, bro. If Saints apply enough pressure, Carlton probably will lose this game. And for that reason, sadly, I will tip the Saints. I was kind of iffy. Carlton can absolutely win this game if they go back to playing how they were a couple weeks ago, but I'm not quite sure if they have it in them at the moment, given that last loss, and they just looked like they were down on confidence and just terrible with the disposals again. And so for that reason, I'm going to tip the Saints. Unfortunately, at the MCG, the next game we have Melbourne versus Hawthorn. Melbourne has been pretty decent, man. Matt Gawn has been having a great season. Maybe not as influential early in the season as he would have liked, but he's been quite good last couple weeks. And they can win this game against the Hawks, but they are without Harry Petty. He got concussed, so he's out. Looking to have Jacob Van Rooyen come in and take that place. If they don't have Jacob Van Rooyen, then it'll be quite interesting to see what they do going forward. Maybe Daniel Turner will stay up forward. But also Clayton Oliver leaving with injuries. Well, not injuries, but personal reason he's out. So I think that hurts the dynamic of the midfield for Melbourne. But yeah, I think I'm going to tip Hawthorn this game, man. Hawthorn just looks too dangerous when they're going at their best footy and when they're playing their best footy, and I think they'll continue to trend. Essendon versus Sydney. Sydney had a good win last week. Sydney has had moments where they play great footy. I don't think it was like very, very great game that they played last game, considering like maybe if GWS was actually playing great footy, but GWS has been very questionable as well this season, so I hold that with a grain of salt. Sydney isn't quite the most consistent team, but neither is Essendon. Yeah, man. Essendon just the last couple of weeks have been playing against subpar teams that still have been letting them within striking distance. So I don't think Essendon is really the best team. I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Sydney this game because I think Sydney is more dangerous than the teams that Essendon has played. And if they decide to get down like that, if they decide to let Sydney get going, then I think it'll be dangerous for Essendon to try and come back. Then I think Sydney will really just run over the top of them boys. But yeah, I'm going to tip Sydney this game just off the back of Essendon not being the best team. And they just kind of play down to their competition. So I think Sydney might be too much for them if their midfield gets going. If their forwards can show some cohesiveness. And yeah, it could go either way though, I'll say that. I'm not just saying it's a shoe-in, but I'm expecting Sydney to win this game. If they don't, definitely be looking at them a little funny. Next game we have Western Bulldogs versus the Gold Coast Suns. And Gold Coast is coming off a pretty disappointing loss against Q Clash. It was highly anticipated. I don't think they quite delivered. Bulldogs, on the other hand, are in very good form, great form if you don't mind, and just hit the ground running, bro. They've been playing great. They've been stabilizing. It's gonna be Treloar's second game back. Barnes been back, and yeah, the team just consistently plays hard and consistently gets the job done, bro. So I don't think. It's tough, bro, because this one can go either way. I'll back Gold Coast to bounce back, but I wouldn't say they'll necessarily beat the Dogs. I think the Dogs can win this one, and it might be a tight game. If Gold Coast plays, I'm going to just tip the Dogs, man. That's it. That's really what it is. We have a showdown with Port Adelaide versus the Adelaide Crows at Adelaide Oval. And Port seems to be a different team at home. This is technically a home game for Port. And I don't know who I want to back this game, bro. Just because Adelaide is coming off a very convincing bounce back game against Carlton. And Port has kind of been struggling, really. But I think I'll have to tip the Crows, bro, just because I think that their forward line is dangerous, bro. I do think Port may be equipped to handle that with Lear and the Radagalier down there. But yeah, this one can go either way, man. I'm expecting this one to be a good game. It's just splitting hairs on this one. And I think Mitch Hinge is coming back this week, so that's a boost for the defense. I think I'll just have to tip Adelaide with a grain of salt. Not too convinced, although I should, considering how Port's been playing. But Port just has the team on paper that you just never know, bro. They can put together a great effort. They have a couple players in the midfield that really can get the job done. They have Mitch Georgiadis up front, who put pressure on the Adelaide defense, and he's a hard matchup to cover. And they have a couple of key defenders down there that are able to disrupt the ball inside 50. So it really just depends on how Adelaide is able to move the ball, and really if they can get their ball movement going, and how dangerous they can be moving the ball forward. So I'll back Adelaide to do so, coming off a hot game and a very convincing win against Port. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. Richmond versus West Coast. Oh man, West Coast is probably in for a rough while for life without McGovern and Harry Edwards. I think their defense will be under siege, man. I think it's battle of the bottom of the ladder, if you will, 16 and 18. I think I'll tip Richmond this game, just considering they have a little bit more direction on their side, I think. You just don't really know which players are really going to show up for West Coast. It's a little bit inconsistent. Harley Reid isn't really having a great season, if you ask me, bro. I think he's actually underperforming. I don't think he looks like very dangerous, bro, on the field. So I think I'm gonna tip Richmond just off the strength of them just having a little bit more convincing quarters and convincing moments. And yeah, I hope this game isn't too bad, man, because I'm not really looking forward to this game. We have Geelong versus GWS next week. Geelong coming off a good win against Collingwood. I didn't think they would have it in them, which is kudos to Geelong, because Geelong came off a bad game, getting their ass whooped by Carlton, and bounced back. So I probably will tip them to beat GWS. I don't think GWS is really as good as I thought they were. As not quite filling out the potential as I thought the team could have. Yeah, man, GWS should definitely be better than how they're playing at the moment. And I don't think that they lost to Sydney and had moments where they just looked lost and didn't quite look convincing to me. So I'm gonna tip the form team, and I'm gonna tip Geelong. They won without Tom Stewart, bro. That was actually pretty good, man. And I think they got a good midfield, bro. They might not have the most household names or the flashier names, but they get the job done, man. So I'm going to tip Geelong this game at home at GMHBA, which is pretty important as well. And the last game, North Melbourne versus Brisbane. I don't think this game will particularly be close. I think Brisbane should win this game. They played a tougher team in Gold Coast. Brisbane, I think, is just too complete of a team. They have strong players in every position group, defense, midfield, forwards, and potentially getting some forwards back from injury. So North Melbourne at home, but I don't think that really mean nothing in this context, and I'll go ahead and tip Brisbane to win this game, man. So yeah, I'll probably be wrong on like 4 or 5, man, just seeing how the trend's been going. Hopefully I'm right, man. I'm trying to get a good grip on these teams, but they don't want to help me out considering how they're playing, and just the inconsistency between most of these teams, bro, just throws me for a loop, and it's kind of frustrating, man. So hopefully I can get a handle on how these teams are playing, man, and I get 9 out of 9, at least 7 out of 9 tips is all I'm asking for, man. So yeah, check us out during the games this weekend, man. Towards the tail end of this week and the weekend. Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube shit, man. If you see a game, probably be live, man. So make sure you tune in. Yes, Lord.